I have a jigsaw puzzle on the coffee table of my office all the time. It serves several purposes. When I'm on boring conference calls, it keeps me from checking my email and finding out if that pair of cute boots is finally on sale. It's good for having meetings with congregants who are on the autism spectrum because we don't have to make eye contact if we work on the puzzle together. It gives me something to do when I have writer's block. But most importantly, sometimes I feel like my world has broken into 1,000 pieces. And in that jumble, working on the puzzle reminds me that I can put it back together one piece at a time. It's an exercise in tikkun olam for me. It's a metaphor for repairing the world. Now, I want to clarify where the phrase tikkun olam originated. It comes from the story of the birthday of the world, which we're celebrating today. Many of us know the traditional story of God creating the world in 7 days, separating light and dark, land from water. But there is another story of creation, one that's found in our mystical tradition. In the beginning, there was holy darkness. God was a ray of light that poured into vessels of the material plane. The vessels containing the light shattered, sparks scattered everywhere. These sparks are in all events and in all people, where they remain hidden. Humans are the one whose destiny it is to collect the sparks and heal the world one heart at a time. It's a collective task of all people, past, present, and future. Our duty is to heal the world one little piece at a time, the part that touches us. And it's good to remember one spark at a time when we feel powerless. God wants us to help complete the universe. And so we join with God in perfecting the making of the universe whole again. That is what tikkun olam means. Much of the wisdom you'll hear in this sermon this morning is that of Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen. The story I just told you is an ancient one, but Dr. Remen used it to define her career and change the field of medicine. She distinguished between curing and healing. She wrote, "Our first response to loss is to fix it. Fixing is too small a strategy for dealing with loss. We can only cure a small amount of human suffering, and the rest of it needs to be healed. In other words, many things in life cannot be fixed and they cannot be cured, but they can be healed. So let me explain. If someone has a chronic or terminal disease, it can be managed, but not cured. If someone we love dies, our grief lessens over time, but it's never gone. If a marriage or a partnership dissolves, we build a new life, but we're forever shaped by that coupling and uncoupling. If a dream fails, we build new dreams, but we continue to be influenced by the one that withered. There's a distinction between curing and healing. When we experience loss, we're never cured, but we can be healed. It's like my jigsaw puzzle. A picture can be assembled from the jumbled pieces, but the cracks between them are still there. So then what's the point of healing if the cracks are still there? Dr. Remen tells the story of her grandmother, who experienced hunger and poverty as a child. When her situation improved as an adult, it was very important to her grandmother to always have a very full refrigerator. In fact, it was so crammed full that it wasn't unusual for things to tumble out onto the floor when the door was opened. Dr. Remen remembers once as a child opening the door and several eggs falling to the floor and smashing. When she looked at her grandmother tearfully, awaiting reprimand for carelessness, her grandmother responded, This is wonderful. Today we make sponge cake. Someone who has had to preserve food when she was young, including broken eggs that fell on the floor, knew she had a choice to make about eating those eggs. She could bemoan the fact that they were filled with bits of shell and dirt, or she could celebrate the fact that she had an occasion to make an unexpected treat. And perhaps without the pain of poverty and hunger, Remen's grandmother wouldn't have learned to make a sponge cake from broken eggs. Dr. Remen teaches, life is full of loss. The art of living is to make something of them that can nourish others. What's your recipe for this? The way we deal with loss shapes our capacity to be present to life more than anything else. And the way we protect ourselves from loss may be the way we distance ourselves from life. Most people try to hold on to the thing that is no longer a part of their lives, and they stop themselves from living. Facts are the bones of the story, but how those facts are experienced is the story itself. The story is the flesh on the bones. When we learn to live with our loss, and we learn from it, then we can take that knowledge to help ourselves when we experience future loss, as well as others who are suffering. A professor in rabbinical school told us, preach from your scars, not your wounds. When pain is fresh, we're confused, we're sad, we're angry, and there's no room in that pain to find meaning or to be strengthened or softened by it. But as time passes, we discover what we've learned and what we can teach others because of the pain we survived. It took a long time after witnessing as a teenager my best friend's life thrown into chaos by her alcoholic father, or after my miscarriage, or after the traumatic first birth of my child that resulted in weeks in the neonatal ICU, or being seen as a failure of a rabbi and being told so on a daily basis by my first boss, before those experiences made sense to me and were integrated into my life story in a way that helped me in my work as a rabbi, a friend, and a compassionate citizen of planet Earth. Dr. Remen teaches, healing, we are all called to receive and give in a universe of loss. Courage, heroism, love, they cannot be measured, but what we witness, they add value to life. Evil can't be eradicated, but the issue is to commit oneself to what's important. How can I make a difference when I'm so wounded myself? Our wounds enable us to make a difference. Our suffering can lead to compassion. How would I live if I'm exactly what's needed to heal the world? I am a piece in the jigsaw puzzle of the universe. I am a spark of light from the primordial brilliance. Dr. Remen studied with many doctors, and she asked them the following question in their training. She said, how do patients respond to experiencing loss? Their loss of mobility, their loss of vision, their loss of memory, their loss of independence, even the loss of the self-image of being a healthy person, and of course, an imminent death. She asked them to share what experiences were helpful and which were not. So I'll walk you through the questions that she used with her medical students. Remember a story of loss from your own life. This is a time when things did not go your way. You were disappointed. Maybe it was the loss of a dream or a relationship or a death. Now remember a person who helped you with the loss. What did that person do or say? Now remember a person who wanted to help but was unable to do so. What did that person do or say? Time and time again, the medical students would give Dr. Remen the same answer. responses that don't help, giving advice, making people think the loss is somehow their fault, disparaging or downplaying their pain. Responses that do help, listening, gentle touch, sitting quietly beside a person, bringing food, but most important of all, to listen generously. Loss is a stage in a process, it's not the end. We are survivors and not victims. You have suffered a deep loss. What have you called on for your strength? Can you focus on the strength and not the pain? Integrity is available. Wholeness includes our wounds and vulnerability. It's our authentic self, and it doesn't judge our wounds. Wisdom and growth come to us through our wounds and allow us to be of help to others. Integrity means to live with what is true, and the truth evolves. So I will continue to keep my jigsaw puzzle on my coffee table in my office. And if you need a physical reminder of the infinite truth, that you carry a spark of the original light inside you, and that you can both be healed and be a healer, then please stop by and help me assemble a broken picture, one piece at a time. Hashanah Tova.